Hey beauties, good evening to you. Beautiful people. So I'm noticing that legal counsel Isat Buchanan I don't know if it has been done, but the motion has been passed for him to be suspended for 2 years because of some sort of invective comment or vituperation or what you would call vitriolic comment, disparaging remarks as it relates to the current DPP. I remember, Paula Llewellyn, that is, I remember when the comment was made in light of something that he had some sort of indignation. He was incensed. And I mean, Isat is known to be quite a facetious individual. I've been known in my little circle to be facetious as well, so I can understand, and I suppose with that sort of a legal training and background and personality, that heightens the level of facetious nature. Let's put it that way. For many of us who grew up in a religious country like Jamaica, we used to hear the thing called an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. And as a youngster, I thought it meant if you stuck my eye out, not literal eye now, if you did something negative to me, then I have the right to do something negative to you. And it was years later, some Christian people came and say, what do you understand by it? And I told them the very same thing in fear, maybe about the last 3 years or 3.5 to 4 years. And I told them, somebody does something wrong, under the Mosaic law, it means that you do something wrong to them as well. So, yeah, you do me wrong, I don't turn the other cheek. I give you my hand on your cheek. And she said, no, what it was doing under the Mosaic law, which had over 600 and odd laws that people couldn't follow, but that particular one, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, was indicative of the fact that if you do a particular crime, according to the justice system, based on first-degree murder, for example, it says that you mustn't be given less than 25 years, behind bars, for example. I don't know. I'm just giving an example. They may say under that particular law, because the punishment is merited. It is, it is under the basis of this particular crime. So the crime is here, the punishment is here. So they match each other. There is a sort of and I use this word loosely, but for you to get a symbiotic relationship. All right? So you do the particular crime, you pay the particular time. So you don't do the particular crime and pay, I'm trying to find another word to use, a totally different time. I'm just using that. So they must be in tandem with each other. It still must be just. It must be right. It must be fair. I would encourage you to read David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell, a very good writer. And with that being said, I'm trying to remember what the comment was in light of, but I remember it had to do with, I think it had to do with something. What did it have to do with? Is it in terms of the years, the DPP's tenure, when he made a comment? I remember listening to him. I remember the program that he was on. But I remember it had to do with something that is nothing I would consider grandiose. And he was being interviewed by a particular individual. And it is said, and this is listening to Deion Jackson Miller not too long ago, and I agree with her 1,000,000% and more in all of what she said, that it would have, and on the basis of what she said, that, some people say they put an indictment on the legal fraternity, put no indictment on it. Because Isat is known to be, as I said, a man, with many words, let us put it that way. Put nobody, I never heard anyone saying that people thought less of the legal fraternity. And she quoted something about, one of the, what you'd call it, laws or policies that basically, and I'm paraphrasing, legal counsel must maintain integrity, decency, and order, sort of a situation. And technically speaking, because he spoke in a general sense, because I remember when he made the comments, he called no names, is under technicality and because of a specific situation that took place, why we can lighten it onto that. All right? Because he didn't want the whole diatribe of saying, you should know better. And then, people start to probably gaslight and blackball and isolate. He probably said, all right, he stepped down as chairman, of the PNP's, what do you call that particular thing there again? Human rights. So he stepped down. So he almost gave himself penance And whatever they said, he said, all right, okay. To bar someone for 2 years from not, let me tell you something, beautiful people. Even a lot of people are earning and it's like they're not even earning and they're struggling. And I don't care about the background or the history of somebody's financial status or their family history, whether they come from money people or they don't come from money. But to prevent someone from earning is like trying to pull somebody's physical heart out of their body. That's the best way I can put it. It is like somebody snatching your soul from you. Like, that's the best way I can put it. Or somebody trying to open up your brain and take out all the brain matter and cells out of your brain. I have to be very descriptive like that for you to understand the deadly nature behind it. You often heard the term, do not box bread out of somebody's mouth. 2 years. Deion Jackson was telling of somebody who literally committed, I don't know if it's an infraction or a crime, but let's just use the word infraction for now. All right? And that misconduct got her suspended for a year. He made a comment that was general, called no one, didn't call any name. I remember because I heard him. I just don't remember what it is in light of. And 2 years? Let me tell you, this country is filled with distractions and trying to create unnecessary distractions from the real messes that are happening in our country today. That is unnecessary. At best, what should have he stepped down? What you could do is demand an apology then. Simple, if that is the case. But it does not warrant that. Because it's not easy to come and publicly apologize to people, especially for men. And especially with personalities like Isat. Let me say that because I don't know him personally. Maybe he's somebody who is repentant. And if he feels he has done something wrong, maybe he's that way. So let me not make that judgment call. I don't know him personally. No clue. I follow him on the social media platform from time to time. I will listen to what he has to say and so on. So I don't know. I have no clue about who he is. Nothing. But 2 years suspended, 2 years of not. But let me Father God. I hope it's not in light of the whole Vybz Kartel situation because he's supposed to get a trial date in February. And to create some sort of distraction because of what is upcoming in February as well in terms of the local elections. Possibly this year or next year, all the way up to September, we have another election. I really and truly hope it's not another distraction from all of this. Because people will go to any lengths to create distractions. I really and truly hope not. 2 years suspension is unjust. It is unfair. It is not right. It is not right. There are politicians that I've heard made terrible commands. Remember the chink, dog, flea, and fly? Far worse. Because it was specific to the individual who was there on the scene. And nothing came out of it. Not one single solitary thing came out of that. And that to me was far more disrespectful. Because in fairness to the fella, he never called any name. We only could just make an inference. We were only making an inference because it was specific to something related to the DPP. But he didn't say whatever it is. I remember the comment. I would have to go back for the video and look back and say, oh yes, this is what was said. Never called any names. Right? So per se a crime wasn't committed. You can't, and it doesn't really hinge. You might think it hinges on integrity. Not so much because integrity is very vast and wide and depends on how you probably look at it. 2 years? Simply ask for a written and a verbal apology. That's not even easy for an arrogant person to do. I say arrogant. I'm not calling him. I'm just talking in general. Let alone, for somebody to come and do this. 2 years is off. And again, I'm not calling anyone arrogant. I was just making up. I think that it's difficult for somebody with an arrogant persona to apologize publicly, to do a written one and to publicly do it. So I was just saying to you that you could have simply asked for that, a written and verbal. And he stepped down already as chairman. This country, Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. please share this message.